Do you have an off-ramp for toy collecting? I mean, a time when you know, okay, that's it. We've crossed a line. I can't do this anymore. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Spector Creative. I'm your host, Toy Guru Neitlich, and today we're talking about off-ramps. No, not freeway off-ramps. I mean, is there a time where you are ready to be done collecting toys? And not because, your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or significant other tells you that you need to stop filling rooms with, toys, but for other reasons. And I think the two biggest reasons are price point and character selection, which right now we're kind of dealing with a quagmire of both of those because pretty much we're kind of at a point where like almost every character in every possible IP has been done. I mean, obviously there are characters still out there. You've heard me bitching about wanting an Imperial dignitary for Star Wars and Ferrell and Spot for Marvel Legends. So there's always going to be kind of that one that got away or that one out there that you're still waiting for. But for the most part, I mean, my toy collecting habits have changed dramatically in the last 2-3 years. And that's mostly been because of price point. When figures used to be $15 or $20 for a 6-inch figure, I would occasionally buy two, sometimes even three, because I would have one for kind of my display shelf and then one for kind of like my everyday toys if I just want to kind of grab a toy that I like without having to take apart a complicated display or, reach your hand in there, hoping to get the figure, and then they all fall over like dominoes. We all hate that. So that's definitely been one thing that's directly affected my hobby, my purchasing, is I only get one of a figure now, and I also don't buy figures that I maybe wouldn't quite buy, but for $20, or if I see it at Ollie's for $7, like I got Madame Hydra here because she was $7 at Ollie's. I wouldn't have otherwise bought her. But that's exactly it, is at the lower price points, there was more of an impulse buy. You could sneak something into the basket. A Star Wars figure might be $7 or $10. You could just, toss that into your Target cart and it wouldn't be really noticeable. But when you're tossing in $25 figures and let's say multiples, suddenly, you buy 3 figures, 4 figures, that's $100. $100. That's crazy. I mean, I get why. The articulation requires so much assembly and labor. That's in between that and the royalties. That's why prices have gone up so much, despite what people saying it's because toy companies are trying to gouge us. I promise you, that's not it. If gouging happened, then other companies would lower their prices, and you would buy their stuff. That's how it works. That's how free market works. That's why price gouging does not. Gouging only works when there's low demand, like something like a war, like a blockade runner in a war, or like that's what Rhett Butler did, right, in Lord of the Rings, in Gone with the Wind. He was a blockade runner, kind of like Princess Leia. All right, so yeah, there's no shortage of supply because you can go online and prices go up just because the production costs are going up. So with those two factors, as character selection goes down, and not in a bad way, but in the sense that we're checking off, right, the figures we want. So I now have almost all of the figures I want for my displays at this point. I've been collecting since, let's just say, 95, right? When Chewbacca for Power of the Force 2 came out, I kind of consider that my first adult collector purchase. Toy I was purchasing just to display, not to play with as a kid. And so, we're now at this point 30 years away from that time, and in various scales, we have pretty much everything we've ever wanted. And at the current price points, and is this now going to become your off-ramp? If 6-inch figures cost $30 and 3 3/4 figures cost $20, to me, that's an off-ramp. I don't know how much longer I could keep buying these things at such a high price. They're supposed to be impulse buy. That's what action figures have always been. With the exception of the high end, like, Devastator, or, something where it was meant to be like an under the tree gift, where you were getting a whole set of figures, box set. Toy Biz was really big on those. So yeah, I'm definitely looking down, down the tunnel and seeing what's coming. And there's definitely, like, I've bought so exponentially fewer figures this year than I have ever before. I think like I've gotten 2 Star Wars figures 3 3/4 this year. I got Leia and I got Luke. I mean, by this time in a normal year, I'd probably have 30. So it's crazy. of where we stand as in this hobby. And I'm really curious if you guys have the same opinion. Is there a point where, okay, if it hits this price point, I'm done. I'm out. That, like, I just cannot justify spending that much money. Or is it also character selection, that you now have complete teams and you're like, I've got everything I need. I don't need anything more. It's going to be really interesting when licenses change manufacturers in the next few years. Again, we've seen this with McFarlane and Mattel with DC. When you see one major license change like that, it is absolutely an indicator that they're all about to do the carousel, of change. It's always like that, and that means a lot of toy companies are going to start character selection over again, but at the current price points. So are you prepared to start collecting Star Wars and Marvel Legends and Transformers and G.I. Joe and all of that from, well, not G.I. Joe, because that's owned by Hasbro, but DC, Marvel, and Star Wars are the best examples. So when they change brands or change manufacturers, are you sticking with them because of the brand? Or will the fact that the character selection is kind of going to go back to day zero, because they're going to focus on the A-listers, and the prices are only going to go up? Where do you go from there? Do you just treasure the stuff you have, or do you keep buying? Do you switch over to Japanese toys? I'm really curious what you guys think. Let me know. Let's have a discussion in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And I'll see you guys in the next video.